Hey, it's Mike. Welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to cover how to create chapter 2 of your summary biography. So if you've got through chapter 1, you probably logged out. Even if you didn't log out, you'll need to sign back in. Leaves only will stay active for a period of time, and when it senses no activity, it will automatically log you out. So you go to signup.leaves.us, and you can get there by clicking that from our home page. And as you recall, you just enter your email address and hit send the email. Pop open your email address, just like this. It comes right away, and click log in here. And what's going to happen is it's going to bring you to where you left off last. So if you recall, we had finished chapter 1, and this is the intermission screen after chapter 1. We can play the story that's in progress up to this point. You can review the timeline that you've got so far, the map, and of course, the records that you've already entered. So now we're done with chapter 1, and we're going to hit next and enter the information for chapter 2. So chapter 2, if you looked at the previous tutorial, you know we're going to grab the higher education records if you have any, military, career, jobs, and then profession. So that's the 4 things that we're going to capture in this part for the narrator to tell this part of your story. So if you went to a higher education institution, and that could be trade school, vocational school, college, university, even if it was an on-work training program, it's good to put it in here. So let's go ahead and enter the education. Remember, we're dealing with a fictitious man by the name of Bob Johnson, and he went to the New Hampshire Technical Institute. I'm going to just put in an NITI, and he studied mechanical engineering. So you would put in whatever your major was or your field of study. If you were first in just going perhaps to a community college, or you did 2 years, you might just put in general education. If you didn't have a major, that's fine too. And I remember, if I recall, Bob left high school. What did we put last time? I think it was 73. So let's just say he went right into college in 1974, and he started that September. And it was a 4-year program. Well, let's say this was a 2-year program of mechanical engineering. We'll say 76. Again, you can put in multiple records for multiple institutions that you might have attended. And we'll just say it was June. And it was in Concord, I believe is where the school is. Concord, New Hampshire. Good. And then if he got a degree, so we'll say he got a bachelor of, I believe it's science or engineering, bachelor of science. So that's what you would put in. You put in the name of the university, what you studied, your major, years you were there. Even if you didn't graduate, you could put in a year, 2 years. Some people attended multiple colleges, universities, trade schools, etc., degree or certification, and then you would upload photos. So the photos that are good for this phase, remember, we'll do chapter 2, we're going to do college. So one is the school. Oh, it's NHTI. Sorry, I messed that up. NHTI. Okay, NHTI, New Hampshire Technical Institute, I believe it is. So the one is sort of a snapshot of the school, the opening gate or wall. So some good recognizable campus shot is great, especially if you can get one with your picture when you were just arriving on campus, or maybe checking into the dorm, or wherever it was that you first, or maybe the outside of the school, of the college that you attended. The second photo would be you um, in class, in the library, maybe with friends, just a good snapshot of a picture of you on campus during the time that you were there. And then the best third one is your degree, your diploma, or your graduation pic. So we just said, remember, we're dealing with a fictitious character by the name of Bob Johnson for this purposes of this demo. So Bob went to NHTI 74 to 76, studied mechanical engineering, got a Bachelor of Science, and then he put in 3 photos. And then you're done. And you can put in more if you want. I'm just going to do this first one just to again show you how it captures the records and how the narrator uses this information in the story. But you can add additional, so you could just keep adding additional colleges and universities, trade schools, vocational schools, even on-job training. That's how you enter the education records. Next, if you went in the military, maybe you went in the military and didn't attend college, or maybe you went in the military and then attended college, or vice versa. If you did, you would just click Add Military. Here you would pick the branch. I'm not going to do it now. I'm just going to assume Bob did not go into the military, but you would pick the branch, the years that you were in the service, the highest rank that was attained, where you went to basic training, and then where you were deployed. So once you enter this basic information, you can then also upload photos, and we recommend on military. Like my dad served in the military. This is a great part of his biography. He was stationed, he was in the Korean War, he was stationed in Germany, and he went to basic training in Aberdeen Proving Ground. So all of that in there. We've got a picture of his official military photo, and then we have a picture of him in one of his deployments, and then a picture of him with his buddies, and he really enjoys it. So once you get this basic information in, you would click submit, and then you can add each deployment. Some people may have been deployed 2, 3, 4, 5 different places in the course of their career or more. And then you can also put in your, after you click submit, you can put in the next screen, you can put in your commendations, if any were received, like bronze medal or whatever you might have received. So that's military. We're going to not do this for Bob. We're just assuming Bob did not serve in the military. He just went to college, and then he started his career. So let's see here, what do we say? So he graduated college in 1976, and we'll say that he bummed around for a little while, and he started his work career in 1977. Let's say he went to work for Boeing to use his mechanical engineering degree, and he was just an entry-level mechanical engineer, and he was in Seattle for that. And it was 1977. He put in the years, roughly the month and the year. And let's say he worked at Boeing for a good 3 years before he moved on. He got some good experience at his first job. So it would be 1980. And we'll just say it was May. And if he still works there, of course, you would click to present. So and what works well, and if you have a series of jobs, it's just one good photo of you at that job, a logo of your company, a picture of you with everyone in the company, because a lot of people do the company photos. So I'm just going to grab one here. I'm going to go to career, and Bob, we say, is going to upload a picture of the Boeing plane that he worked on. Submit. And that's the first work record. We're just going to put in one more. I'm not going to bore you too much. We're just going to say that Bob then moved on to GE Aviation. he rose to the title of Director of Engineering over the course of his career. You could put in, of course, the same company, multiple titles and multiple records, but we're going to just keep it short for this one. He worked in Los Angeles, California, and it was 81 that he got recruited by GE, and let's just say he still works there to this day, or maybe he just recently retired, but we'll say he's just still working there. And then for the photos of the longest company that you've had a tenure at, it's good to put in the logo. So I'm going to put in the GE Aviation logo screen, and then we're going to put in a company picture of him with everybody in his company. A lot of companies do that. And then one that just represents sort of on the job, what he was doing on the job. So just like that, we were able to upload 3 quick photos for the job that you spent the longest time at. The narrator likes to use 3 photos. For all of the other jobs, you just tell 1 photo is sufficient. You at that job, or a logo, you in front of the company building, whatever you think best represents your time at that company. But the most important one is where you spent most of your career. And in at least our generation, the baby boomer generation, we did have a tendency to have longer tenures at companies, whereas today, the younger folks, they move on jobs pretty quickly. But the baby boomer generation maybe held a half a dozen jobs. Okay, so we're going to just leave it at that. We've got Bob's work records in. You can see it creates a card for every company that you worked at, and we're going to click next. And then the last piece, this is how quick this moves along. Of course, if you had lots of jobs, you might be putting in all 6, 7, 8, 9 companies that you work for, but it moves along pretty quickly. So Bob's occupation was engineer. Actually, we'll say mechanical engineer, as you recall. That's what he went to school for, and he actually stuck with that in his career. Oftentimes, people don't end up in careers they went to school for, but that's fine. You would put it in. And then he was in the aviation industry. And you're going to find out that the personal virtual biographer, which comes next after creating your summary biography, will be asking lots of questions and interviewing you about your career, about your profession, about the industry you worked in and the changes. These are all important for future generations. And so we're capturing this information now, not only to help summarize this great life that you've lived, but also to help future generations understand what work was like in our day. So I'm going to put aviation industry. And some good photos to upload here for your profession. I would say one that represents your occupation. So Bob was a mechanical engineer, and that's a picture of him on the job, and it pops up here. And then the second one would be the industry he worked in, which was the aviation industry. This could be you at an industry conference, whatever you think best represents you and your industry. And then the third one is the how the industry changed over the years. And so this is Bob working on some of the latest equipment, given where he started 30 years earlier, for example, or 20 years earlier, for example. Okay, and that's it. You click next, and you've now finished chapter 2. Again, it's similar format. So this one says, congratulations, Robert, your summary biography is shaping up nicely. Click the icons above to play your story, view your map and lifeline. And so now if you click the timeline, or we'll do the map first. You click the map. You can see the map is starting to populate with these other records that we put in. Where he went to high school, where he went to college. he worked at Boeing in Seattle, and then he worked at GE in Los Angeles. And so your map will begin populating with these record cards and these little pins that shows work, homes, births, schools. Like eventually we're going to get into places traveled, and you can add a lot more detail on these places and your experience at the places that you've lived and worked and traveled in your career, in your life. And then you'll see now we have a more expanded timeline. So we now have all of these in the timeline. We start adding the work dates, and again, a card for each work date, higher education, all of that stuff. So another cool feature is, forgot to show you this on the last one, on your timeline, if you click to toggle this thing that says history, it will also show you, give you some history of what was going on in the world at that part of your timeline. So in 1973, when Bob graduated high school, bell bottoms were in, disco was the thing, and then later on it's going to hit some things later on in life to show even more historical context. Okay, so that, I mean, we can, I'll just play it real quick because I do want to show you how when you are previewing this, you can stop it and advance it. I don't think I showed you that the last time after we finished chapter 1. By the way, we still have the share. So if we click the little share icon and click this little box, it will copy it to the clipboard. And we can just pop in the browser, click paste, and you can send this to your kids, your grandkids, your family, your friends, and it will bring them to your story and play it to this point in time, and also show them your map and your timeline. So pretty cool. That's all free. They don't have to register. They don't have to put in any data, any information. You're just sharing it privately because they have this private link. Well, let's go back here. I'm going to play this. First, I'll turn my speakers down. I think they were loud and obnoxious the last time I played the story. So I'm going to go quieter, and we're going to play the story.
Legacy of Robert Johnson.
So this is how we started last time.
Most of his friends.
So notice I can hit the pause button, which is right here. So I can pause and review this slide in more detail. And notice down here, all the slides that the virtual biographer has created is appearing. So you can jump all the way through. If you remember, we left off after he graduated high school here, remember? We can go down and we can fast forward, went to college, he finished college, and so you can...
His longest tenure was at GE Aviation, where he served as Director of Engineering for 42 years. We will learn more about Robert's jobs and career accomplishments in future editions. Bob's primary profession was mechanical engineer. He predominantly worked in the aviation industry. I am looking forward to hearing Bob's perspective on how his profession and industry has changed since he first started his career.
So that would be the end of the narrated story that the virtual biographer is telling about the data that's been entered. And remember, all of these slides.
This is an introduction to the life and legacy.
All of these slides can be rearranged. They can be changed. This narration that you're seeing here, this story script, you can edit it. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. But right now, we're giving you this wonderful template and telling this story in a way that will engage people and entertain them, with adding some music and adding professional narration, using your uploaded photos and using the records that you've entered. So it will give you a great template, a great starting point. And then once we have all of this data in and we've got this summary biography created, Then I'm going to show you how we can go and rearrange it and customize it further. You're going to love it. It really creates a wonderful, we say it creates a wonderful story that's like worthy of the biography channel and something you would enjoy watching on television. And that's what we're trying to help people with, is create this great foundation, because then we're going to be going much deeper into your lived experiences. So I hope you got a little sense of how to enter data and upload photos for chapter 2. Remember, we're covering post high school, so if you went to college, trade school, vocational school, you did on the work training, put that in. Your jobs, your major jobs, if you had small little interim ones, I say if you worked at a place for at least a year, probably good to create a record of that for your kids and grandkids so they can see the path that you took. And then after your work, a little bit about if you started in the military, that will go in there, and then a little bit about your occupation in your industry. And that is a wrap for chapter 2. Stay with me. We're gonna in the next one, we're gonna show you what goes into creating chapter 3, and then how you can edit it and bring this all together to customize it to your liking. So thanks for staying with me. I hope to see you on the next tutorial. Bye for now.